Hello there, I'm another Magento dev, and in this video we're going to be looking at blocks. We're going to be looking at blocks from a front-end theming perspective. So, I mean, that sounds like it could be quite basic. I was going to say, so really basic usage of a block, but to be honest, it's only simple when you know how to do it, and it's only simple when you are outputting simple information. Like, you can actually output complicated information, different data from a block. Blocks are really useful, and you can use them in your theme. Existing blocks you can always use in your theme, and that's probably the best application is to, if you're using something existing, like getting a product attribute or something like that, and you know it exists, and you know that, and you know where to get it from, which is what I'm about to show you, then you just do that in your theme. As you get a little bit more complicated and you want to start writing functions that go with existing blocks, then you might want to use a module, and you can even use a combination of a module for your block and a theme for your front end sort of code, which is a little bit, I don't know if I'd do that. I'd probably, if I'm going that way and I'm starting to do customized stuff, then I'd probably keep it all in a module. But if I'm just extending Magento's core capabilities for front end purposes, then I would use my theme. So we're going to start with theme we're going to start with we're looking at this from a theming perspective. Right, so what we're going to do? Well, we're going to do something dead simple. Well, it seems dead simple if you know how to do it. But we're going to add a new block, first of all, to this section of the product page, which is the product info main section. And it's dead easy to find in your default theme, if you like, and it's dead easy to find to extend, and I'm going to show you how to do that because we always show our working out on this channel. But I'm going to set it up first while I'm here. So I know that I need a layout folder if I'm going to be adding a block, right, particularly to this area. So it's layout, not layouts. Where did that go? Did I add it? Maybe I didn't. Did I add it? Yeah, I added it. And then I happen to know this. I'm going to type it in now, but I'm going to show you how I know this. And we're going to get catalog product view. And you get used to these things, to be honest. Catalog product view is your PDP, your product description page, your land, the one that I showed you. So I'm going to add this as a layout. So this is a good starting point. Now, where do I find this? Well, first of all, I know that it's Magento catalog. So we know, if you watch this channel a lot, that is analogous to module catalog, which is down here somewhere. There is module catalog already open for our convenience. And then we know that all our front end stuff is in view of this module. And it's in front end. And then obviously you've got loads of stuff in here, but we're going to be concentrating on this folder for now, which is the layout folder. And we know that that's where it exists, right? Because that's what I've already put. But how would I know that if I didn't know that? Well, one of the easiest ways to find it from the front end is to have a look for the HTML class. So it's there. Look, you can HTML. If I'd have searched for that, I'd have found this file. And the reason I'd know to search for that is it's there in it. That's the wrapper of everything once it's inside the column. So I want to add a new block to this section here. So first of all, I've got to do, and we've been over this loads of times, but let's go over it again because it's one of them things that you've got to continually do to keep comfortable with and to get faster at, particularly for beginners, and that's what this channel's aimed at, is for beginners. So I'm always going to start with a bit of boilerplate, and I just grabbed that from the actual file. Like, you can't go further wrong than that. Now, I don't want to be copying everything into here. That's a bit pointless. I want to be referencing that container. So I'm going to say reference container, and I've got a little extension here, my Magento wizard, which is going to give me the code. And I don't need much else than saying the name, or typing the name of this container. You see how this file, even in Magento's core, is referencing the core content container as well. So this like cascading extending effect is right through Magento, and it's really useful. So I want to be extending product info main, and we know that all of our stuff's in here. Look, SKUs in there, prices in there, descriptions in there. Everything's sort of everything that appears in this block on the front end appears in that layout file pretty much. and we're just going to bang this there. And now I'm able to say I want to add a new block to that, and I don't want to, and I want to be adding my block inside it first, and then we'll have a look at positioning. So this is like the simplest way to add a block. So this is a block with no data. We're just going to add a block with a HTML file reference, which is where you would start. You know, you keep the problem nice and relaxed at the beginning, and you build up. So I'm going to add a layout block. Now it's going to give me all this gubbins when I add it, because these are all the things that you can do. Now for this, I don't actually even need a class, right? At the beginning, I'm going to add that in a sec, and I don't need an as because I'm not using any child HTML or anything like that, and I've been over that in other videos, but I won't concentrate on that in this one. And I'm going to add a new block. Now this is something, this name can be anything. I've got in my mind that I'm going to be doing a series soon on how to add a countdown timer that's powered by actual data from a product and using Knockout.js. So I'm gonna do like a crash course on that, and that's coming soon. So I might use this as part of that, you know, setup, and then we can sort of talk about it. So I'm gonna call it product.timer. So I might refer to this video in that video if you like, because it cuts out a step. But I wanted to do this video on itself because I think it could be quite a lengthy one to add to that crash course, because it really is the basics. And once you've got these basics down, it's going to be easier to build on that and start adding knockout and all sorts of other references to getting data and things. So right, for now, my template file is going to be, and this is what this means here, this is my template file. My template file is also going to be within my theme. And just done the wrong thing there. So I'm going to be adding templates as a folder to catalog, and in that I'm going to, obviously you can start adding, you might start editing price, list, all sorts of different things within templates, you know, as you're theming. So I'm not just going to add an HTML file in here. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit compartmentalized, and I'm going to say I'm going to add a folder called timer, because I know that doesn't exist in Magento, and I'm going to add a file called timer. But that could be called it can be called anything. So we're going to say PHTML. Right. So that's give us a blank file, and now I'm going to reference that file here. And the way you do that is by referencing first of all your folder that you're in, and it happens to be Magento catalog, and then 2 colons, and then no /, but you'd say timer, because that is basically going to look in the templates directory there. It knows about that directory. So you just have to reference timer and then timer.phtml. And now that's going to all link together, and we're just going to test it. So I'm just going to put a div in here, and we're just going to say print something out, timer here, because we're going to look at its positioning now. So I'm just going to refresh this on the front end, and you can see, look, my text there is by default it's just adding it to the bottom, and it'll be adding my div, look, just inside product info main. So that's sort of part one, if you like, job done. That's the most basic way. So once you're seeing that, that's what I would always do first, because as it gets more and more complicated, you don't know where it's going to break down the road if you get problems. So it could be something as daft as the way you've displayed or put the block, or where you've put the block in your XML file. So rule that out. So you get let's have a look. Let's see it on the page first. So now we might want to start getting some standard data through, so something from the product, right? So we could use SKU or something just for demonstration purposes, right? So how do you find out which class you need to use? So, you know, how do you find out where SKU is, you know, in Magento and all that core stuff? Well, as I always say, or as I always sort of refer to, your XML files are always your friend in this. And because they're using the classes that are required to get existing data. Obviously, I know in this example, SKU is existing data anyway, and it is already on the page, so we're duplicating information, but it's good for demonstration purposes. So SKU is actually being retrieved from Magento catalog, block, product, view, description, right? And what's in there? We'll take a look at what's in that file, right? So and it becomes clear on, you know, essentially what Magento's doing when it's giving you data. It's strange. It's not strange, but it's an unusual file, is description, because you can actually get the information just from view. You can actually get it from there. I'm going to demonstrate that in a second. So, but not all information. So I don't know why. They've got the extra one, but we'll have a quick look here. Quick look here. Right. So in Magento catalog, which is sort of the default folder, and then we're looking into which is module catalog block, and then it was product, and then view is there. That's the namespace for view. Or you go into view, and then you can see there's a few things that are sort of that you recognise here. There's price in here. There's a few sort of base image, few sort of PHP files that you can kind of make a good best estimation, a good guess about what they're giving you. So description PHP is where where Magento's getting the SKU, the information for the SKU. And as you can see, the only thing in here is get product. That's the only public function that's available in description, which is a pretty generic sort of function, isn't it? Like if we're talking about description, you'd expect it to maybe be going a bit further and giving you the description from this area, but it's not, because in the description PHTML, or in the place where you retrieve the description, you're going to you'll see that the product will be being retrieved from a block, which is the bit I'm going to show you now, and then they'll be using get description to get the description. So rather than just sort of getting it straight in the PHTML file. So that being said, this location then of product Magento catalog product description is quite useful, and you can get quite a lot of data from it. I mean, you can get just about anything that's on the product, any custom fields, anything, because you're getting the product, so you can get anything from it, get anything from this file. So it's a really useful one to use. So we'll start with that one. We're going to get the SKU, as I say, from this. So how do you do that? So it'll be the same in other files, but you've probably already guessed what we need to do. So we need to get the product from the block. So this can be called anything, right? But Magento often uses, and to be honest, it's sort of used in a lot of different PHP CMS programs. Like, you know, if you're referring to a product, underscore product is a good way to refer to it. Don't know why, it just is. And we're going to get that from a block, because we know that we're passing that class into our block in the layout file. And we're going to say get product, because get product, because we know that get product is going to give us the product, right? It's going to give us the product. It's going to give us the product sort of for that current product, in fact, you know, so that it's going a little bit further. That's what it's doing. And you've probably noticed, like, Magento still hasn't updated this, because it's still using the registry, look, which, as it even says here, was deprecated. So Magento's going to have to change this soon and use like the request params or something else. But basically, Magento will update this, and get product will always remain the same. So we're okay using it. Get product. They're not going to change get product. It's used too many places, and why would they? Why would they change get product? It makes too much sense. Right. So now I'm getting that from the block. I can actually, and I'll show you the shorthand version, which you see sometimes in Magento. I can, which means echo get. What was I doing? Oh, dollar product. And then I'm going to say get SKU, because I know that's available. Okay, that's outputting the SKU of this product, look. Right, so as I was saying before, right, in here, you can also, if you wanted, you can get the SKU from view, right? And that was here, look, view. Why can you get it from view? Well, the same reason you can get it from description, because there's a public function in there, which again goes to the registry, getting product by ID, and it gives you the product to be able to get information from it. So we'll just test that out now, just to sort of prove to you if you don't believe me. Can you get it from the view? You certainly can. There it is, right? So that's like the most two basic things. One, you're getting your block on the page. Number two, you're getting some existing data. Now you could get a custom field for this, like, you know, from this place you can get anything that's on the product. So any attribute, anything you've added, you can get from this same location. So to go up a stage, right, we'll go up one more level. And remember, this is all just done in your theme. Dead simple, right? All just done in your theme up to now. So now we're going to introduce our own block. And this is where I would suggest maybe moving over to a module, right? But I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to show you that it's possible to have your block in a module with your PHP, with your high-level sort of back-end PHP functions, if you like. But you can still utilize your XML and your calc. Some people just might find that tardier. It's up to you whether you want to use your block or you want to use your module. And it don't become too abstract as well. It becomes quite. It's still something that a developer can go in who hasn't written that code and follow. And I'll show you why. Right, and so I already created an extension, as I say, for another tutorial that I'm going to do. I've called it Countdown, but I've got a block folder in there which is primed for use, right? So I'm going to add in here my own product. Tell you what, now I'm going to call it something different. I'm going to call it timer.php because in the end that's probably what I'm going to use. And the reason why am I doing this, right? Well, it's because I want to write my own function to utilize in this here. I want to output a string here, right, for now. But obviously your functions can be more complicated. But I'm going to output a string here. And currently my string isn't available in description as a function. You know, like this is a core file that my string is not going to be in there, and it isn't in view either, right? So we can close those two, and we're going to move our logic, our custom logic, to a new block. And I'm going to show you why we do that in a sec, right? So my how we do that in a second. My block has been created by my boilerplate wizard, and basically this is valid, right? If I was to sort of compile this now, this is all valid. But right, this is sort of inviting me to do something here that I don't need to do, right? Because right, I want to keep my SKU being output, which comes from, as we've established, this block here, right? So if I suddenly point this to my new block, which would be, and it's giving me a clue here, Adam Countdown block, right? If I start pointing my thing to here, which would be / / even timer, right? Which is a valid block, right? And it probably, I might need to deploy it, which is a valid block. And then, so I just need to save it, and I know it's valid. And I could even start writing my function here, but I'm not going to bother because I'm going to show you what happens. It's a valid block, but it's saying no chance. You're not. Why is it saying this? Well, it's saying this because product isn't available in my block, right? So SKU isn't available in my block. So I need to extend the Magento block and sort of attach on my functionality rather than sort of writing it all from the beginning. So if I was to Google this now, if I was to search for this, all of the tutorials will be saying this is how you get a product from ID, this is how you get a product from a SKU, but it all means that you're basically rewriting and reinventing what Magento's already done in description PHP and view PHP, which is pointless, right? So what we want to actually do is extend it, but that's what this is inviting me to do as well. This is inviting me to add my own constructor and add my own sort of way of getting product, but I don't need to, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all that, and I'm going to start writing my function, and I'm going to call it a public. It's going to be a public function, and it's just going to be getting time. I'm going to call it get timer string, right? And this could be like and it can be anything really, but we're just going to call it get timer string, and I'm just going to return string. This is my timer for this SKU. Right. So this is what I'm going to be outputting to the page, right? So I'll show you this works. Or we'll see if this works actually, just in and of itself, right? But what I'm going to have to do is I'm not going to be able to use this, and I'm certainly not going to be able to use this, right? But my string I'm going to be able to get, right? And I'm going to be able to get it from my new block that I've added. So we'll just tidy this up a bit. So we're going to say string equals, and then we're going to say $block, because I know it's in my block. And then we're going to call, and then what was it? Get timer string, right? Yeah, it's not going to have that. It's going to get frustrated about that for a second, but and we're going to say $string. Alright, and we'll see if this outputs anything. I might have forgot something, but oh yeah, it's because right, we can type this again. We'll just get rid of this line. Get rid of this. Right. Okay. There. So I know my block's working. This is my timer for my skew, but I can't get my skew. One or the other. Right? I can either have my string from one block, so I can either have my string from this block, and I know I'm labouring on this, but this is good information I think for beginners. I can have my block, and but I can't have my cake and eat it. I can't have my skew as well, because my skew don't exist here, and I can't be asked to write a constructor and everything just to get a skew, because I know it already exists in Magento. It'd make me itch, right? So what can we do? Well, this is where it gets quite clever, really, is we can extend Magento, right? Because we're already saying here, right? And all we're saying here, to be fair, is extend Magento. This is basically blank. This is nothing. This is just temp. This is not. There's nothing here, right? This is like, you might as well not even have a class to extend. But we're going to extend description, right? No, we're not. We're going to extend view, not description, right? And I'm going to show you how. So we're going to get hold of the class for the block, right? So I said before, you can get the SKU from view. So I'm going to use that as my example. And how do I do it, right? How do I know what to do? Right, so what I'm going to get is, where are we? Right, let's have a look at how description's doing it, right? So, well, description actually is a bad example. Let's have a look how something else is doing it. So if we type in extends Magento catalog block product view, right? Is anything extending it? Well, yeah, there's loads of stuff that's extending it right now. We could go to any of these. They're back end, so I'll try and find one that's front end. I think this is front end. That's extending something even further. But you can see how files are getting extended here. Configurable. You can see how stuff's getting extended. Well, basically, without labouring on it too much longer, is if I get this class, which is a class that I could have used in here to get the skew, right? And I add it as an extension to here. So if I basically, and this is a nice way to do it, so I'd do use, and then I'd get that, and then I could say here view. I've got that. Right, so now I'm saying timer extends view, and we know that there's loads of good stuff in view. Name, and the best thing is that get products in there. So if I save that, let's get rid of that. Right, so I know loads of good stuff's in there, which means I can get my product back. And it also means that I can output my SKU again from $product. Ain't gonna work. That is. Okay. There we go. So I hope that has been useful. So we started with block, getting your block on the page. Then we looked at getting core information without any sort of customizations, and then we looked at how to customize it. Right? But what I did do was I'm using there, aren't I, a block that I've added in an extension, which I think's okay, right? But we can actually, and I probably have touched on this before how to do it, but we can actually add all our view files in. So we can basically move all this into the extension and it would work the same. But I think that's enough for this video. I hope, as I say, I hope it has been useful, and I hope I've talked through it in nice bite-sized stages, and you know, illuminated people who aren't comfortable with blocks on how the whole thing sort of fits together. So instead of adding my own constructors to here, look how much it's just simpler, isn't it? All I'm doing is I'm extending something that already exists in Magento, which is very, very useful. Very useful. Just for front, you know, when we're talking about basic front end theming, it's really useful, because now this can just be filled with all your customizations. You don't have to worry about having Magento's registry deprecated, because when Magento fixes it or finally gets rid of it, you're using the core file, which will be updated. So you win, don't you? We're all winning. Great stuff. Well, if you like this type of content, smash a like on the video. Tell me you do in the comments, because that really helps. Subscribe to my channel, because that's really helps. Thanks, obviously, if you're hearing this, you stay to the end, which really helps. You know, share this around with your pals who are also beginners at Magento, because you know, I would love for it to be as far-reaching as possible, and this information to get out to as much people as possible, as many people as possible. Okay, that'll do. I'll see you soon. See you in the next one.